Great. Thank you so much. I'll start from the point of, anyway, I've heard it been said that insurance is the ugly cousin of banking or in terms of financing. So most times, any business owner or anyone running any venture, most times insurance is the last thing they think about. So I will start by taking you back. When you get into business as the private sector, where, logistics falls as well, what are you after? You're in business to make profit, right? And for you to be able to make profit, there are some attributes, there are some parameters that you need. You need the product, you need the price, the place, the people who help you in this business of yours to be able to get to the profit. Now, we've created systems to be able to get to the profit using all these inputs. But there's also risk. Each of these inputs has a risk, right? If you're hiring people in your logistics firm, they come with a risk. They can rob from you, they can mishandle your goods, a lot of risk that comes with people. The products, in terms of how you're storing them, in terms of how you're moving them, the nature, all that comes into play. There are risks there. When it comes to price, there are always fluctuations that sometimes it's demand, supply, in the cost of production, all those things, there's also a risk there, which you have to be aware of. And finally, when you're moving the product or the goods from one place to the other, there are also risks there. Now, in logistics, what we tend to see is when, of course, first of all, to answer your question, as insurers, do we have the products? Do we have solutions for people in logistics? Yes, we do. We do have solutions for the owners of the goods, but we also have solutions for those that move the goods, right? So sometimes those two get confused. And pardon me, I'm trying to build to something here. So I listened to bits and pieces of the earlier conversations, and we're talking about different covers here and there. And what we've noticed from our members, they say that there's marine cover, but then there's also a carrier's liability. Now, if you own the goods, you have the right to get insurance, right? You have interest in those goods, so you can get cover for those goods. But if you're not the owner of the goods, but you're given the responsibility of moving these goods from this place to the other place, there's a carrier's liability there. So sometimes when it comes to getting insurance, first of all, we need to understand that there's that difference. And when it comes to getting insurance, you need to get the right insurance. And dialogues like this really help us explain such. So that leads me to the other issue when it comes to accessibility to the products that we have as the insurance industry. Now, the marine cargo tends to be based on the value of the goods, right? But when it comes to the liability covers, these are really huge, and they tend to be expensive. So as a logistics entrepreneur, when I go to pick insurance, I'll be requested for the nature of goods. Even though they are not mine, I need to declare the nature of goods, how I'm transporting them, if I'm using my own means or I'm hiring, which places, the overall operations, my turnover. Why do we ask this? Because it is for the liability that may come to you in case something happens to someone's goods, right? So sometimes we request for books of accounts, annual turnover, and most times when we request for that, we never hear back. We always get requests for quotations, like let's say in a month you can get 20 and end up only closing 2. Why? Because of so many reasons. Sometimes we are not we're not operating in a structured way, or if we do, sometimes we feel like it's really cumbersome, but also the cost has been a problem, especially for logistics providers, for liability covers. For the goods covers, those are easy. People have been buying. But for the liability, we tend to shy away from them. But the products are there. Now, I will hint a bit on what can we do to manage this kind of risk and the costs. Because you see, at the end of the day, I want my profit. And me getting an insurance policy for this liability that may or may not happen, eats into my profits. So from a layman perspective, I'm like, no, I will not get this one. Let me bear this. I will pray to God. I will rely on people I work with. I will rely on friends in case something happens to chip in. So I think something we really need to look at is, one, in regards to maybe bringing the cost of that particular cover down, is we need to be structured. If we came together as logistics providers, and of course for us as insurers, we're saying, if we understand the risk, if we know what we are getting into the pool, we will provide the cover, or we'll cover you. And we can even discuss lowering the price, right? So what am I leading to? I'm asking that if we act in a structured way, we can be able to negotiate a cover for many logistics providers that can be at a lower cost. Or we can lobby government to kind of subsidize. But I don't tend to choose the lobbying. We can work, we can negotiate. If you brought 100 logistic providers, trust me, from the association level, we can be able to rally our members to be able to bring the costs down. But yes, we do have the products.
Thank you very much, Annet. I see that this word from morning up to now is cropping up. And Jim gave a background of once it became private sector